and broadening its availability not just to equestrian people, but to the entire community. So that's number one, is taking private dollars, because we don't have county dollars, as you pointed out, to do parks. So this is using private dollars for that. Secondly, the idea is that this is going to be an equestrian event center that that will generate tourism to the area from a number of times a year from the wealthy horse community. We've also negotiated, or still are negotiating, taking some revenue out of that, in addition to the sales tax and the lodging tax and stuff that the community would benefit by. So we're trying to make sure that we're doing this so that we're actually taking something that isn't generating much for us now and generating something for us. So we're trying to turn it into something positive for the county.
I would say the same thing with Gibbs Lake. We're going to have the question of how do we manage this property between Gibbs and Wellside Lake, and there's timber to be harvested there. And I've already talked with the people that do the logging out at Indian Island, and they have a program there that's totally self-sufficient. They don't have any outside funding from the Pentagon or anybody to manage their timber over there. They pay for themselves with the horse logging program that they have out there. And it's, they have a management plan that goes, it's a very long-term one. And it's very, if you've gone and seen what they've done over there, a year or two later after they've been fitting in a place, you can't tell they've been there. But we'll have an opportunity for trails in that area where some trees will be removed. We'll probably have some thinning for health of the forest there, and ways that we can utilize them. They think it's real promising once timber values start going up. This was back in December, I think I talked with Jerry. But he thinks this would be a great place for it. And also that would fit with demonstration projects and with the park activities in a lot of good ways. So those two areas, I think, we've got a lot of work to do. That I just outlined a lot of work for the property Matt to do there in the future. But I think there's ways we can actually get some revenue off of that too from timber ourselves, especially if we don't have the 25% DNR cut to take from everything. But that kind of does bring us back to Laurel Grove, which I think is the one we probably need to talk about the most as we go forward.
Well, I want to address the wealthy horse owners, because my daughter had a horse, and let me tell you, when we took it to state, wherever we took it, we had a travel trailer. Because the horses eat so much. There's no wealth there other than it's a good thing for your kids to do.
That's right. I will tell you, whether it's Homeward Bound or I haven't seen any purchases by them, but I have over the years, especially the past 5 years, seen numerous transactions in regards to Habitat for Humanity and their purchases for their buildings. And I've never seen Habitat, or at least the vast majority. Habitat ends up, most of the time, paying market value
For the land?
For their land.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, a property owner will grant them a little bit of a discount, 25% to a third, and then take the income tax write-off on the difference. But normally Habitat pays pretty close to market. Now you can make the argument that if you go with Homeward Bound for a minimal amount of money, that maybe they're shovel ready and ready to start. Whereas if you just sold it, would a developer go in there and immediately we start getting new construction? I don't know that there's a whole lot of developments going on by private builders right now. But I still concur with Judy to the degree that the amount of reduction that you apply to homeward bound should be more than $100.
Domestic violence
You pay through
has already
grants somewhere to take it, or
drawn up plans for
fundraising.
that property.
Yeah, so I just, that one is starting to bother me actually more than the other two. And so as you go into negotiations, my other deal is that if we are gonna really help assist with affordable housing, I'd like to see the county commissioners do that in county.
Well, I think
You know,
that,
if you can sell the money and then you can do affordable housing in the Port Hadlock area, you know, that would sort of.
And we
let
get the sales tax.
Yeah, and the city, you
Construction.
let the city take care of the city and let the county take care of the county, to a degree. I know that you're partners and all this and stuff. But anyway, so whatever you get from the sale of that, if you can then take that and then use it for affordable housing out in the county and stuff, I'm a little
by
queasy.
using it for the sewer, then that
That-
will lead towards
To-
instead of being able to
Yes,
see.
yes, you can certainly make that argument.
Same page.
Yeah, but, you know, so that one, the $100 deal that they're requesting is not something that
I hear you.
Okay, we're gonna start wrapping this down, because
Yeah.
safety does have a meeting.
Okay,
Meeting
right,
schedule.
thank you. On Laura Grove, you know, I think a couple of things. One, please understand, no commitments and no train is heading down on tracks on that one at this point. We were approached, and so early discussions have started, so this is a timely discussion. Number two, just recently, the city created, the Public Development Authority has started to discuss, and Phil, you can fill in on this, whether they may be interested in possibly even purchasing the property, and, you know, at what percent of value, I don't know. So it's very much a moving field at this point, and no commitments have been made, and I think you've heard the recognition as well that it's a potential asset for capitalizing some of the tri-area. So, one more thing.
I think I'd just like to summarize what I've been hearing and writing down, and I'm going to make it very succinct. I think the complaint from the electeds here has been that our budgets were severely scrutinized regarding our staffing and other things that we were trying to do for our department. And I think that we were asked to make these deep cuts and partner with the commissioners to get a 2010 budget. And I think the concerns of the electeds that are present here is that the commissioners are making decisions that again are going to jeopardize our ability to provide basic services to the citizens of Jefferson County. And I think what we're asking for is better communication for potential large general fund impacts. And I think the VOCC has a job to do, but so do we. And by not sharing information like we were asked to do in 2010 and to work closely with Dan Sears and the commissioners, I think you run the risk of losing the spirit of cooperation and getting a fractured county government and have the independent elected officials having to take their cases and their needs to the public. So the one thing that I would urge, and I think that I hope that I've summarized it, is better partnership in the future, especially for things that have such impact on the general fund.
I
Because
appreciate your comment.
when you make decisions, it's going to affect the auditor, the treasurer, sheriff's office, other county government entities.
And it has the same cooperation on the revenue end as we've had on the expense end.
And I would like to add to that, it goes beyond elected elected officials and departments. You know, this team right here, this is a great group for you to bounce ideas off of. You know, we are a valuable team, you know, and we can contribute a lot.
Great summary.
Yeah, Ron.
Thank you.
Good point. Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you to hold guidelines until April, since we're running up against the clock.
That sounds good.
Okay? And with that,
Well,